Hey everyone, have you ever wondered why, despite all your best efforts, your winter garlic still comes out small and weak? You prepared the beds meticulously, selected the finest cloves, only to be met with disappointment. The secret lies in a single, yet incredibly sneaky mistake that many gardeners make specifically in September. Today, we're going to uncover that secret and ensure your next garlic harvest is absolutely massive. So stick around, it's going to be really interesting. September is the classic window for planting winter garlic. It's this overwintered garlic that truly delivers the biggest, juiciest, and most flavourful heads. Unlike its spring-planted counterpart, winter garlic undergoes a crucial cold hardening process. This process, known as vernalization, compels the plant to mobilise all its energy for robust future growth. But here's the twist. A misstep right at the beginning can completely negate all the advantages of winter planting. All right, let's really dig into what we're getting wrong here. The number one mistake, the one that seems to plague 9 out of 10 gardens like a virus, is planting too early. Yep, you heard that right. Not too late, but too early. Now, that sounds completely counterintuitive, doesn't it? I mean, it's a beautiful September. The warm sun is still shining, and the soil is soft and easy to work with. Your hands are just itching to get those cloves in the ground, hoping they'll get well established before the cold weather sets in. We think, the sooner I plant, the better it will root, and the stronger it will be in spring. And that point, my friends, is the biggest pitfall. This logic, which works perfectly for most other crops, is actually detrimental to winter garlic. Nature, you see, designed winter garlic very cleverly. Its job isn't to sprout as quickly as possible. It's to survive the winter, gather strength underground, and then burst forth powerfully with the arrival of true spring warmth. But early planting into that warm soil, still basking in the September sun, completely throws it off. It gives it a false command. Spring is here. Time to grow. Picture a warm September day. Perhaps even the height of an Indian summer. The sun still warms you almost like it's summer. Golden hues dance on the trees, and the soil is warm and crumbly. You step out into your garden plot, grab your trowel, and a thought instantly sparks. This is it! The ideal moment. It feels like nature itself is whispering, "Plant now." Everything around you is practically screaming that conditions are perfect. And with complete conviction, you begin your work. But let me tell you, this is the most treacherous trap you could ever stumble into. That deceptive warmth. It's not garlic's friend, but its bitterest foe. Because garlic, unlike us, doesn't check the calendar. It responds purely to temperature. And for garlic, that warm September soil isn't a cue for winter dormancy. It's a signal for active spring awakening. It's precisely this illusion of ideal conditions that leads us to make that very mistake, which then, in spring, results in bitter disappointment and small, lackluster heads. So, what happens next? Once nestled in the warm, inviting soil, the garlic clove completely forgets about winter. It receives an irresistible signal. Time to wake up and reach for the sun. Inside, all its growth processes kick into high gear. Instead of channeling all its energy downwards to establish a robust root system, one that would help it survive the winter frosts and nourish it in spring, it does the exact opposite. It vigorously pushes green shoots upwards. Those familiar green shoots which bring us so much joy in spring emerge on the surface, but in autumn they are utterly detrimental. Every millimetre of that green blade represents precious energy the clove is draining from itself, from its own future. Essentially, it's spending its starter capital, its golden reserves of nutrients, not on the essential foundation, the roots, but on the superficial facade, the green shoots. And this beautiful, yet utterly ill-timed display of green becomes its Achilles heel. It sends up vibrant, lush green shoots, and at first, you might even feel a surge of joy. You glance at your garden bed and think, look at it go, it's settled in, it's thriving. But this joy is very short-lived, because nature is relentless. Sooner or later, after a spell of deceptive warmth, It descends, the first real, serious frost. Not just a light morning dusting of frost, but a full-on freeze overnight. And that's when it delivers a crushing blow. This tender, young greenery, which had been reaching so eagerly for the sun, is absolutely unprepared for such an ordeal. It's not hardened, it has no reserve of resilience. The frost strikes it mercilessly, like a hammer shattering glass. The water within the leaf cells freezes, expanding into ice crystals that tear them apart from the inside. The next morning, you step out into your garden to a heartbreaking sight. Yesterday's vibrant green shoots are now limp, waterlogged, and darkened. In another day or two, they'll simply turn yellow and collapse onto the earth. And this isn't just a cosmetic flaw, it's an open wound. In the end, by spring, this plant is utterly depleted. Imagine a runner who completely exhausts themselves on a false start. When the actual starting gun fires, they have no energy left for the real race. The same thing happens with garlic. It has squandered its precious nutrient reserves, meant for rooting and winter dormancy, on completely useless foliage. It doesn't go into winter with a full tank of energy, but rather running on fumes. But that's not all. Frost-damaged leaves begin to decay, and this rot can easily spread to the neck of the bulb. This creates a perfect breeding ground for fungal diseases. Consequently, by spring, your garlic isn't merely depleted, it's often riddled with disease. And naturally, there's absolutely no chance for such a struggling plant to produce a large, plump, healthy bulb. All of its immense potential has been utterly squandered. So, when's the right time to plant? How do you nail that perfect moment? Folks, forget about specific dates on the calendar. September 20th or October 5th. Those are just numbers. Nature operates on its own timeline, and we need to learn to understand its cues. Remember the golden rule, the absolute standard for planting winter garlic. It needs to establish roots, but it shouldn't sprout above ground. Its main job in the fall is happening entirely underground. It needs to develop strong, white roots that firmly anchor themselves into the soil. These roots will protect it from freezing all winter long and then actively supply nutrients come spring. The green shoots above ground are absolutely not what we want in the fall. Their moment arrives in spring. The ideal scenario is when the clove has rooted and the ground above it is already covered with snow. It goes into winter dormant, but with a powerful root system ready for a strong spring growth spurt. For this ideal scenario to truly unfold, garlic requires approximately 3 to 4 weeks before the onset of hard, sustained freezes. We're not talking about the first light frost that might appear in September, but rather consistent sub-zero temperatures when the soil truly begins to freeze solid. During this crucial 20 to 30-day window, the garlic has just enough time to perform its essential underground task, developing a robust root system. Crucially, both air and soil temperatures are already low enough to prevent any undesirable growth of green shoots above ground. This is precisely the delicate balance we need to strike. 3 to 4 weeks of quiet, unhurried work beneath the surface, with no frantic activity or growth pushing upwards. This time frame is perfectly sufficient for thorough root establishment. After that, it gets a well-deserved winter rest, from which it will emerge invigorated and ready for a vigorous new season. So, don't rush the process. Keep a close eye on the weather forecast and allow nature to do its vital work. But how do you truly know when the time is right? Surely we can't just rely on intuition or those notoriously unreliable long-range weather forecasts, can we? Absolutely not. We have a much more precise and dependable indicator, a soil thermometer. If you don't already own one, I strongly recommend you get one. It's a small, inexpensive investment that can save multiple harvests. So here's what to look for. Monitor your soil temperature. The ideal planting window opens when the soil at the depth you'll be planting, typically around 5 to 7 centimetres or 2 to 3 inches, consistently cools to between 10 and 12 degrees Celsius, which is 50 to 54 degrees Fahrenheit. It's crucial that the temperature doesn't just dip for a single day, but hold steady within that range for several consecutive days. This specific temperature sends a clear signal to your garlic. It's time to put down roots, but don't focus on upward growth yet. In such cool soil, the processes for above-ground growth are significantly slowed or don't even begin. However, these conditions are absolutely perfect for robust root development. This is the scientifically sound, agronomically proven approach that guarantees success for your crop. Now let's talk about the actual planting material. This is the second most crucial aspect, right after planting times. And here's where many people make another big mistake. They rush to the nearest supermarket and pick up the prettiest, largest garlic they can find. Never, and I mean never, do this. You see, garlic sold in stores, especially imported varieties, often undergoes special treatment. It's treated with growth inhibitors, chemicals designed to prevent sprouting. This is done to ensure the bulbs last longer and don't start growing right there on the shelf. If you plant a clove like that, chances are you won't see any sprouts at all. Or if it does sprout, it will be very weak and sickly. Using such garlic is like playing a lottery with very slim odds of success. For planting, you should only use proven, local material that's adapted to your specific climate. So, where do you get your hands on the right garlic for planting? The answer is simple. Choose only the best heads from your own last year's crop. Alternatively, you can buy from trusted local gardeners at your farmer's market. It's crucial to ensure this garlic was grown in your climate zone and hasn't been treated with chemicals for long-term storage. When choosing your planting stock, remember this simple rule. Big seeds lead to big harvests. Don't skimp on quality. Pick the largest, most beautiful, perfectly formed head, ensuring all its cloves are uniform, firm, and healthy. Carefully break it apart and select only the largest, outermost cloves for planting. While the smaller, inner cloves will also yield a harvest, it will be significantly more modest. By consistently selecting only the best specimens year after year, you'll naturally improve your garlic, resulting in progressively larger and more abundant harvests. Just before planting, you need to carefully separate the garlic head into individual cloves. This process demands a gentle touch, and it's definitely not a step to rush. Many people, unfortunately, hurry through this, either roughly tearing the cloves apart or even dropping the entire bulb onto a hard surface to make it shatter. You absolutely must not do this. The most crucial part of each clove, its very heart, is the basal plate. This is that small, flat bottom where the clove connected to the main stalk, and it's precisely where all future roots will emerge. If you damage it, even a small scratch, a nick, or God forbid, tearing off a piece, the clove either won't sprout at all or will produce a very weak plant. Therefore, take your time and gently separate the head by hand. Be meticulous about not damaging the basal plate or the protective papery skins of the cloves. These papery skins are the clove's natural armour, essential for shielding it from diseases and physical damage. The more intact and healthy each clove is, the greater its chances for successful overwintering and ultimately a truly bountiful harvest. Many gardeners unfortunately skip the next crucial step, disinfection. They often view it as an unnecessary time sink, yet it's your best insurance against a host of future problems. Remember, soil is a living organism, teeming not just with beneficial microbes, but also with countless pathogenic fungi and bacteria. These unwelcome guests are simply waiting for their next victim. An untreated garlic clove, once planted in such an environment, becomes an easy target for them, especially in autumn when the soil is damp and cool. To protect your future harvest, always soak your garlic cloves in a disinfecting solution before planting. This could be a weak, light pink solution of good old potassium permanganate. Alternatively, you might opt for more modern biological preparations, such as those based on Bacillus subtilis. Soak the cloves in this solution for 20 to 30 minutes. This short treatment is enough to eliminate most surface pathogens, giving your garlic a healthy and safe start. Let's talk about where to plant your garlic, because much like a discerning aristocrat, it's quite particular about its surroundings. It simply won't thrive just anywhere. The golden rule of crop rotation to remember is this: Never plant garlic in the same spot where its close relatives, onions or indeed garlic itself, have recently grown. They share common diseases and pests that tend to accumulate in the soil. Planting garlic there again risks exposing your entire harvest to these pathogens. Also, avoid planting garlic after root vegetables like carrots or beets, as these crops significantly deplete the soil at precisely the depth where garlic forms its bulbs. So what makes an ideal predecessor for garlic? It's crops that are harvested early, leaving behind loose, organically rich soil. Ideal choices include cucumbers, zucchini, pumpkins, early cabbage, and legumes like peas or beans, which naturally enrich the soil with nitrogen. And now for the second most common mistake, which often goes hand in hand with incorrect timing: improper planting depth. Some gardeners bury their cloves too deep, leaving them without enough energy to push through to the surface in spring. Others, conversely, plant too shallowly, making them vulnerable, as severe frost can easily heave the cloves right out of the soil or even kill them. To avoid these extremes, remember the simple yet ingenious 3 heights rule. It's truly foolproof. Take a clove in your hand and look at its height. The planting depth should be exactly 3 times the height of that clove. So for example, if your clove measures 2 centimeters tall, you'll want to plant it 6 centimeters deep. This layer of soil above it will become its ideal blanket, offering reliable protection from frost without being too heavy for it to sprout through come spring. It's straightforward, logical, and a method proven by generations of gardeners. And finally, a crucial tip that's often overlooked. Once you've placed the cloves in their holes at the correct depth and covered them with soil, it's tempting to give the bed a good watering. You might think this will help the cloves settle in better and compact the soil around them. However, for full planted garlic, this step is entirely unnecessary and can even be detrimental. Do not water your garlic after planting. In autumn, the soil usually has plenty of moisture from natural rainfall. Overwatering during colder temperatures can cause the root plate to rot and promote fungal diseases. Garlic will get all the moisture it needs from what's already in the soil, supplemented by autumn rains. Your only task is to plant it in loose, moderately moist soil and then leave it undisturbed. Nature will naturally ensure the ideal moisture levels for its successful establishment. Here's the crucial twist. The single biggest mistake that devastates 90% of harvests isn't just planting too early. It's our impatience and our failure to listen to nature. We see the sun and we assume our plants are happy too. But in reality, we're sending them straight to their doom. The true mark of a masterful gardener is patience, waiting for that perfect moment when the ground is already cold and the first frosts are just around the corner. That's the key to success. The difference between a handful of tiny bulbs and a basket of colossal garlic isn't hard labour. It's simply 3 or 4 extra weeks of patience in September or October. Just wait for the right chill. So, let's recap. For a truly amazing garlic harvest, remember to wait for the colder weather, select the largest, healthiest local cloves, disinfect them, and plant them at the correct depth and in the right location. Just a few simple steps stand between you and the garlic of your dreams. Thanks for watching this video all the way to the end. If you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more gardening secrets. Now, a question for you. What are your go-to garlic planting secrets? Perhaps you have a special preparation method or a unique mulching technique. Share your wisdom in the comments below.